Willie, Willie, are you back there? Willie, get that. No one can see you. Come on, Willie. Come on, take that. Willie, I love that you read, but you have to remove the book. Oh, thank you so much, Willie. Hi. I'm sorry about Willie. He was reading his favorite book about him. Okay. This is a three-part book. I don't know if you remember that. If you haven't seen it yet, you could see it on the pod. You see it on a podcast or on Facebook or YouTube from the Mentor Project. It's called Willie's Adventure. Yep, that's you, Willie. And the first one I told, or excuse me, we told, was about Willie's wonderful pockets. He has 7. If you haven't caught it yet, please do. It's a really cool story. And the second one that we're going to tell today is, you want to show them? You want to tell them? Okay. It's about Willie's Walk. So I'm going to walk Willie over to where he needs to be while we get ready for our walk. So I don't know about your day out there, but in my town, the sun is shining. It's a beautiful day, nice and cool. So when I get up in the morning, I stretch. You might want to start that too, stretch. Sometimes I try to even reach my toes, depending on where they are, usually at the bottom of my feet. And then I get ready for my daily exercise. Sometimes it's a little bit shorter than others, but I always, every single morning, try to walk. And that gets my brain going, and I get to think about things I'm going to do with you and things I'm going to do that I need to do to get my day rolling along. But I don't roll. I don't roll. I walk one foot and then the other. And you might want to practice even with your hands. So you can make a lovely little moving along sound. I'm going to do it on my lap. It goes like this. Great movement. Walking gets everything going, especially up in the head. But let's see, my sunny day, as you can tell, it is a sunny day. Sun is in my east, probably yours too. So I'd put on my sunglasses, so as not to hurt my eyes. And then, so as to protect me, I'd even wear a hat. So there you go. There's my hat, my sunglasses. Crooked here. Oh, you're looking up there? Oh, this is one of the greatest walks of all time. Hard to do in one day. It's called the Appalachian Trail. Walked a bit of it myself, but it's long, and it covers a whole lot of states. I do believe 14 of them as well. So a little bit of you, a little bit of this beautiful country. So got my sunglasses, got my hat, I got my story about a boy named Willie. So here's your job. Your job, should you accept it, to take your 2 hands and walk with Willie as he goes on Willie's Walk. So I cannot see you too well because, truth told, I'm inside. So I'm going to take off my sunglasses. And although I love my hat, I'm going to take it off for now so I can see you better and make sure I know where I'm going on my walk with Willie. So this book was written by Margaret Wise Brown, illustrated, as I've told you before, and will tell you again and again, by Crockett Johnson. Crockett Johnson, what a wonderful name. He brought us a book called Harold and the Purple Crayon. And the characters, of course, are quite similar. And he has what is called an artistic style that is recognizable. Now, our author is Margaret Wise Brown. Margaret Wise Brown, still is. And she wrote this series of stories in the 1940s, and asked her friend, Crockett Johnson, to illustrate them. They've done some work together, and there's a whole group of artists, and authors and illustrators that worked together to make the stories that we get to hear still to this very day, some 80 years later. Pretty amazing to be in a book and still be read and enjoyed. This story is something I resonate with because it takes place between Willie, who you may remember, besides being mischievous, is the hero in our story. And every time his story is told, he learns something. So I want you to learn something. Look at that. He's looking at me, right? He's looking at me as if I were his, get ready for this, his mentor. I'm going to teach him stuff. And what is so curious about that, not that's a different story, right? Is that this story is being told to you on the Mentor Project. So I get to be Willie's mentor. Maybe I could be yours too someday. So here's our story. Willie, you are about to get a phone call. Yeah? And guess who's going to call you? You don't know? Well, let's tell the story and find out. Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, we bring you Willie's Walk, starring Willie and Grandma and you, the most important part of our program, the audience. So get ready to move your hands while we go on our walk with Willie. Willie lived in a small town. His grandmama lived in the country. She telephones him. Ring, ring. Willie? Yes? Come to see me. When? Now. How will I get there? Walk. Through the country? Through the country. By myself? By yourself? But, Grandma? Yes, Willie? I've heard that wildflowers are wild. They are, said Grandma. But come anyway. How will I find the way? Asked Willie. Follow your nose. Well, how will I know when I get to your house? Look inside and you will see me there, said Grandma. And with that, Grandma hung up and Willie started his walk. Willie put on his new suit and he started out. He walked out of the town and into the country. He followed his nose. And the very first thing he saw was a wildflower. It smelled like a violet, so he picked it. And he walked on. The country looked very, very big to Willie. Butterflies fluttered all around his head. Willie had never seen a butterfly before. But he didn't want to catch it. Should he turn around and go back home? Nope, not Willie. So he picked some smelly weeds that butterflies wouldn't like, and he walked on to Grandmama. Then he came to 3 wild red strawberries. 3. They were almost hidden behind some very green leaves. But was Willie afraid of a wild strawberry? No, not Willie. He picked all 3 strawberries, 1, 2, 3, and he ate 2 of them. The other one he put in his side pocket so it wouldn't get squashed. And Willie walked on to Grandma. Soon he came to a shallow stream across the road. There was no bridge. How would he ever get across? Should he turn around and go back home? No, not Willie. He took off his shoes and his socks. He pulled up his pants, new pants, and barefooted he waded right across the cold, wet water of the stream. When he got to the other side, he put on his socks and his shoes, and he walked on to see his Grandmama. He came to a hill. It was a very high hill. Should he turn around? No, not Willie. He walked up the hill backwards so he wouldn't see how high it was. And then he walked down the hill backwards again so he couldn't see how high the hill had been. And Willie whistled as he went on his way to Grandma's. last he came to a great big house. It had enormous doors. Could it be Grandma's house? Willie went and peeked in the doors. Nay! The house was full of horses, but not Grandma. Next he came to a rather small house. It had a little round door in it. Willie went and he peeked in the little round door. The house was full of a big, fat dog. Sound asleep, but no Grandma. Then he came to a tiny little house. It had a tiny, tiny door. Could this be Grandma's house? Willie went and he tried to peek inside, but the door was too small. And then he heard a quiet. So he knocked to see who was there. Honeybees, but no Grandma. Then he came to a white house, all covered with red roses. It had a green door and a chimney with smoke coming out of it. Could this be Grandma's house? Willie went and he peeked inside of one of the windows. And there was Grandma, sitting inside, waiting for Willie to come. Sakes, said Grandmama. Don't stand there. Come in, child. Willie went inside and gave his Grandma a great big hug. And then he gave her the wildflower. How pretty. And he gave her his smelly weeds. Very pretty, said Grandma. And then she gave Willie a glass of milk and a great big piece of chocolate cake. Oh, said Willie, here is a little wild strawberry just for you. And that was Willie's walk to Grandma. I think we need to give Willie a big round of applause for all of Willie's hard work. And when we are grateful to somebody, what else do we say, Willie? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to who? Thank you to all those people out there for coming and for listening to our story. You can listen to it again on our podcast, and you can go to the Mentor Project, our Facebook page, and YouTube, and what else? What else? You did a great job, Willie. I don't know what else there is to say, except what a great job. You can give me 5. Don't forget to thank the Kaufman Family Foundation. Oh, thank you, Kaufman Family Foundation. And don't forget TriBraining Inc., who helped bring this show to the air. No, not that kind of air. To this wonderful space we call the magic of the internet. Ooh, yes, Willie, you don't know yet about the internet, because in 1944, when Margaret Wise Brown invented you, created you, we didn't have much of it yet. But it'll come, Willie. You just keep on a-walking. So, again, I thank you for coming. And when you go outside, don't forget to protect you and your sunshine. Don't forget sunscreen. And don't forget, if someone does you a goodness, you say what? You say, thank you. I am so glad to be in your space. And for now, I'm going to pick up the rest of my book. And I'm going to sit right down outside on this beautiful day and say, thank you so very, very